Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We start our video with the tale of nacho cheese, retail policy, and one customer who said, "You know what this situation needs? Assault." But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. That cheese will cost you $5,000. This isn't something that happened to me personally, but rather to a classmate of mine. He works part-time at a fast food restaurant not far from our campus, and something happened to him recently that honestly shocked all of us when we heard about it. It was a normal day, the kind where the lunch rush starts early and never really stops. He was working the register that day, taking orders and keeping things moving as smoothly as possible. You know how it goes. Fast food isn't exactly glamorous, but it's steady, and he's always been good with people. Friendly, efficient, knows the menu inside and out. But sometimes, even when you do everything right, people can still go completely unhinged. So a customer comes up to place an order. My classmate rings it up and, as he usually does, confirms everything on the screen. One of the items included an add-on of nacho cheese, which is a small extra charge. Nothing major, just $1 or so, but company policy requires them to mention any extra cost before finalizing the order. So he double-checks with the guy and says something like, "Just to confirm, you wanted nacho cheese on that. It's a small extra charge." Turns out the customer had not asked for nacho cheese. My classmate had misheard him, an honest mistake, which he caught and corrected immediately. He apologized, said no problem, and removed the cheese from the order before proceeding. But apparently that wasn't good enough. The customer didn't believe him. He started insisting that my classmate had left it on there and was trying to scam him out of $1. My classmate calmly reassured him, pointing to the screen to show that the charge had been removed. He even offered to print out a receipt to prove that he wasn't being charged for it. Still, the guy kept calling him a liar. That's when things escalated. Without any more warning, the customer suddenly leaned over the counter and punched him right in the face, a full-on closed fist punch to the mouth. It happened so fast that nobody had time to react. One moment, it was a routine order. The next, my classmate was holding his mouth with blood running between his fingers. Security rushed over and the police were called immediately. An ambulance had to come take my classmate to the hospital, where he received multiple stitches for a split lip. He was bruised, shaken, and in pain, not just from the punch, but from the complete senselessness of the whole thing. Over $1. Over nacho cheese that wasn't even on the order anymore. The best part? The entire altercation was caught on the restaurant's security cameras, crystal clear footage showing the punch, the customer aggression, and my classmate doing absolutely nothing to provoke it. The police took a statement right there at the hospital and later arrested the man on an assault charge. Now the customer's being taken to court, and depending on the outcome, my classmate could be awarded up to $5,000 in damages. Not that the money can really make up for being assaulted at work, but it's something. The company's also backing him up fully, offering legal support and covering his medical costs in the meantime. He hasn't gone back to work yet, and honestly, I don't blame him. The mental toll of something like that is real. One second, you're helping someone with their order, and the next, you're being attacked for doing your job correctly. What's really unsettling is how quickly things turned violent, all over something so insignificant. It makes you think twice about the kinds of people service workers have to deal with on a daily basis. It's a reminder that for every polite, decent customer, there's someone simmering just below the surface ready to explode over literally nothing. We all joke about ridiculous customer stories, Karen this, entitled guy that, but this went way beyond funny. This was violent. It could have been worse. And all over nacho cheese. The rest of us, we're just trying to support him however we can. The guy is one of the nicest people in class, always helping out, never has a bad word to say about anyone. He definitely didn't deserve that. No one does. Wow, what an absolutely insane story. That guy earned his assault charge, and I hope the court slams him with the full penalty, including that $5,000 payout. It's heartbreaking to think that someone so kind, reliable, and good at their job has to carry the physical and emotional scars from something so senseless. You're absolutely right. It wasn't just a Karen moment or a dumb entitled customer story. This crossed the line into real harm. And our second story. Fastest police response ever. It's been a few years since I posted here, but I finally had a story worth sharing again. A lot's changed. Most importantly, I left the chaos of a big box retail job and took a position managing a small hardware store in a quiet little town of about 1,000 people. Let me tell you, it's been absolute retail heaven. No screaming managers, no lazy employees, and somehow no annoying customers who throw fits over 5-cent price differences. People here are just chill. If there's a line, folks patiently wait and chat with each other. If we need to do a price check, they nod and smile. It's honestly surreal in the best way possible. To make it even better, I was brought in as manager. I'm the youngest person on staff by a solid couple of decades. Some of these folks have been working here since before I was born. But there hasn't been even a whisper of resistance to the changes I've made. Everyone's just proud to see the store keep running well. I really did luck out. But the other day, something finally happened that snapped me out of the small town retail piece. We're in a part of the state where occasionally people headed to a massive annual event a couple hundred miles away get turned around and wind up here. That's what happened with this guy, who I'll call Silly Biker, SB. SB rolled in mid-afternoon, leather vest, messy hair, aviators, the whole I live for the open road vibe. I didn't think much of it at first. He walked in like a normal customer, started poking around the shelves, but after a few minutes I noticed his hands lingering a little too long on packages, and he kept glancing up to see if anyone was watching. That kind of behavior sets off every internal alarm I've developed over years in retail. So I casually kept an eye on him, and sure enough, a few minutes later I started finding empty packages tucked in random aisles. Blister packs for wrenches, pliers, utility knives, classic rookie shoplifter stuff. I followed him from a distance, hoping to catch him in the act, but he was careful. Eventually, he brought a tiny box of screws to the counter, paid for them, and turned to leave. Right as he reached the door, clatter, out tumbled a wrench and some other tools right from under his jacket. Busted. I kept calm, held up my phone like I was calling dispatch. I wasn't yet, and told him he had two choices: either pay for the stuff that just fell out and we'd pretend it never happened, or return the screws and leave the store forever. If he refused, I'd call the cops and show them the evidence along with the pile of empty packaging I'd found scattered around. SB's eyes darted to the door, and before I could say another word, he bolted. Here's the kicker, though. Unbeknownst to him, two uniformed cops had just entered the store seconds before, off-duty officers who'd stopped by to return some youth baseball jerseys to one of our employees who helps coach Little League. As soon as SB made his run for it, I pointed and yelled, "That guy!" and they reacted immediately. No hesitation. They tackled him right outside the door like it was a live training drill. Turns out SB was drunk, too, slurred speech, stumbling, the whole 9 yards. Once the cuffs were on and the adrenaline wore off, he was genuinely shocked. "How'd you guys get here so fast?" he asked, dazed. The officer chuckled and said, "Welcome to small-town living." SB was taken into custody, and I'm told he'll have a long list of charges to deal with: shoplifting, resisting, public intoxication. Meanwhile, I went back to the counter, tossed the screws back into stock, and continued my day like nothing happened. Small towns might be quiet, but don't let that fool you. We handle business fast. And our last story. Kevin tries to claim my house as his. My parents have owned our beach property for over 30 years. They bought it back in the 90s when it was basically a rundown duplex with sand in the walls, and over time they turned it into a cozy retirement home. When I was younger, we only stayed there on school vacations, but about a decade ago, my mom decided she was officially done with snow. They moved full-time to the coast. 2 years ago, after a personal disaster I won't unpack here, I moved back home into the other side of the duplex. Financially and emotionally, it was the best decision I could have made. Living with my parents as an adult wasn't the plan, but they were happy to have me there, and it turns out a quiet beach town does wonders for mental clarity. But there's one big downside: parking. My dad had the foresight to install a private driveway, but it only fits 2 cars, his and Mom's. That means I usually have to fight for street parking, and since we live in a tourist magnet where people think beach etiquette is optional, finding a spot near the house is like winning the lottery. So one sunny Saturday afternoon, I'm coming back from running errands, and, miracle of miracles, there's a spot right outside our duplex, directly at the bottom of my steps. I slide in and start gathering my bags when someone starts pounding on my driver's side window. It's a man, mid-50s, sunburnt, holding a Starbucks cup. We'll call him Kevin. "Kevin, excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" Me. Parking my car? Kevin, you can't park here. Me. Pretty sure I can. It's public parking. Kevin, no, I live here. Your car's blocking access to my stairs. I blinked. Me. Wait, you live here? Kevin, yes. Me. Wow, I had no idea. How long have you lived here? Kevin, what does that matter? It's my house and I'm telling you, you can't park here. At this point, I'm halfway between incredulous and hysterical laughter. I opened my door, got out, and walked past him to my own front steps. That's when Kevin lost it. He started yelling, actually shouting about trespassing and how I needed to get off his property. He reached for his phone and started muttering about calling the police. Just as I was debating whether to go inside or record him for entertainment value, the front door opened and out came my dad. Now, a little background on my dad. He's 6'1", 225 pounds, retired construction worker, Italian-American, and very protective. His tolerance for nonsense is low. His tolerance for anyone yelling at me? Non-existent. Dad, what's going on? Me, apparently we've got a new roommate. Kevin says he lives here now. Kevin looked up, saw my dad, and physically flinched. He muttered something and started backing away, stepping into the street toward his car. I looked at Dad and deadpanned, would have been nice if you'd told me we had someone new living with us. Dad, next time I'll send a group text. Kevin didn't say another word. He got in his car, made a U-turn, and drove off. I stood there on the porch laughing so hard I had to sit down. Later that evening, we replayed the whole story for my mom over dinner, and the three of us had one of the best laughs we've had in years. For the next few weeks, anytime someone rang the doorbell unexpectedly, Dad would shout, "Tell Kevin dinner's ready." We checked with a few neighbors the next day and pieced together the rest of the story. Kevin was a rental tourist, the unit 2 doors down was an Airbnb, and he must have felt entitled to the closest spot and assumed yelling would get him his way. Classic short-term rental syndrome. Show up, act like you own the place, disappear before the consequences arrive. It's nuts. This world, I know it's chock full of amazing people worldwide, but the bad ones, or the entitled ones, just make me scratch my head. Why? What made you decide to walk over to a stranger, lie to them, and get aggressive to make them move their car? Huh. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.